So, like with the concerns about COVID and people being in close proximity, Horse, what do you think about the idea of putting mics in the helmets like they do in the XFL?
Um, and once again, it's one of those things. If it really is that much safer to do than to get in a huddle, I'm for it. Obviously, I don't want any of these guys getting sick and having something happen to them just for my entertainment. But like Ant said about the Oakley face mask, if if it's so bad that these guys can't huddle, maybe we don't play till later in the year. I don't like it because I feel like it gives the offense too much of an advantage at this level. If you're giving guys like Kyle Shanahan, John Gruden, Bruce Arians, Andy Reid the ability to talk to the every player on the field, that can get real dangerous. I would assume the defense would have to have it as well to counteract it, but I don't like the advantage it would give the offense. And I just think that if it's that bad that we can't huddle, then we probably just shouldn't play the games yet.
100%. And I get where Horse is coming from. I'm a little bit more of the like willing to innovate guy. Tradition is important, and I want to remember tradition. And huddling and being able to get into a situation where maybe you can get two or three play calls off in a huddle and then audible at the line without someone having to tell you, and the team's kind of functioning as one unit. I think that's extremely important in just team sports in general, because you have to have that sense of not just camaraderie and trust, but working on the same page, a well-oiled machine, which you don't have to be as well of an oiled machine if the coach is making the audible at the line through a mic via headset. But I do think it just brings up a lot of possibilities to be able to mix and match so you can keep defenses off your heels, because you can always, in the future, you can always huddle up and play at a slower pace, controlled, more methodical. But at any point in time, you can get up right on that line and go. My only concern is just, are we at a point yet with technology where we don't have to worry about mics cutting in and out or someone not being able to hear something? And what would the contingency plans be if something like that were to happen?
I think this is actually a good idea. I don't really have a problem with it because you can still control when the radios turn off, just like they do now. They have certain times they turn off so the coach can't talk to the players past a certain point. You still have a clock, a play clock, so you can't have, guys, you don't have unlimited time to talk to all 11 players and be like, hey, you do this or you do that. So, I mean, it does kind of still hold it true. But if it is going to eliminate, at least sometimes where they're in close proximity, I don't really mind it a whole lot. But it's something that I think that needs to be talked about, because I did like that aspect of the XFL. And I'll tell you right now, if there's not going to be fans in the stands and there's not going to be all that stuff, I mean, some of the experience could be amplified by being able to, see these guys go in different places, hear different things from coaches on the sidelines like the XFL did. I'm not against adding more elements in. So I'm less worried about it as far as a COVID-19 reason, and more looking at it as a, that's not that's like an interesting idea that we should maybe consider as a league going forward, because it might excite the game even more. You know how the NFL likes offense. This could give them an opportunity. And if you're putting mics on both sides, the defense also, I mean, you can see something, change a coverage. I mean, you can, show a blitz or something, depending on what personnel grouping you have. It's easier to get personnel groupings in, so it might speed up the game. There's lots of added advantages to it. I know that there's disadvantages, but this might be a good opportunity to give it a try, see what happens.
I have one question for you while you answer this. So if you are Commissioner Goodell or on the competition committee or whoever is making the decision to allow this, at what point do the mics cut off?
So currently in the NFL, communication stops once the play clock reaches 15 seconds or once they've taken the snap, whatever happens first. So I don't think it's a real big change. I think you leave it at 15 seconds just the way it is. It's just now the offensive coordinator is able to communicate with all the players on the offense and not just through the quarterback. So you're not just calling it into the quarterback and then the quarterback giving the play to the players, everyone can hear them at once. It leaves communication-wise, it just makes sense. That way you have less delay of games, less stoppages, because now all the players can hear it. There's less communication that has to happen in hostile environments. So that's why I think we should take a look at it. I think it would help expedite the game. It just makes sense. So hopefully the NFL takes a look at it. I'm okay if they don't. But, I mean, calling a play, even if you're in a huddle, if everyone could hear, it'll help speed things up because then the quarterback's not having to instruct everyone during the huddle. So hopefully they take a look at this in the future. Thank you for listening to the 49ers Cutback Podcast. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Anchor, Google Pods, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Don't forget to click the follow button so you won't miss an episode. You can always follow us on Twitter at 49ers Cutback. We'll be back soon with another great episode. Stay safe and remember, the right way is always the 49ers way.